Good morning. I'm Janine Bolon. I am so grateful that you're joining us this morning for Open Friday Coffee. It's lovely to have every one of you with us today. What we have going on today is we have a few guests who are going to be trickling into the show one after another. They give us 1-minute tips because we're all business owners or entrepreneurs, or we're just starting a business, or we're interested in starting a business. And we have people here from Canada. So for my brothers and sisters of the Great White North, ooh, thank you so much for joining us. Like I said, NAFTA in the house. We have Maui, who is showing us the morning sun. And thank you for the time change. Otherwise, we'd be looking at the morning star as Crystal joined us from darkness on the island. And we have the rest of the United States with us. And so we're always looking for Alaska if they ever want to join us. We'd love to have them with us today. Originally, who is this crazy person talking? Originally, Open Friday Coffee was office hours. I started online teaching back in 2005. And then in 2015, I adopted this really neat software package called Zoom. And I've been on Zoom ever since. And then this other crazy thing in 2020 hit. We all know about it. And everybody joined my party. That's what I felt like. I finally felt like everybody joined my party. So thank you for being with me on Open Friday Coffee. You can check out the Learning Hub in the chat where we have other classes and articles, and my online university is there and that sort of thing. But right now we have about 639 students on 93 different courses. And so you're always welcome to ask me, so what are you doing lately? What's your latest course? And I'll say, I'll be glad to tell you. And here you go. This is how you sign up. So we're going to start off first is, do I have any of my students on who have taken a workshop, been to a course, or have read one of my books that has a question? Because originally this was for you. So feel free to raise your hand. They actually now officially, with the latest update, have a raise hand button. Go, Sean.
Just demonstration. So we're all good.
Oh, is it demonstration? By the way, this is Sean Bolon, who is my production manager for Open Friday Coffee. And yes, he is rocking the Spider Hunter headsets. You ever want to know how you can pick up your set of your own Spider Hunters, you let me know. We have been wearing these since he was young because we are gamers, and this is the way I connect with my young people. If you have any questions throughout this, or you need to get ready to leave, don't just drop off, because I know Open Friday Coffee is show up when you can, leave when you have to. That's my rule. You are not, you can ask your question and take off. I am not going to be upset by that at all, but I do have a lot of people that we need to get through who are here trying to serve the greater community. Okay. So if you need to go, or you're getting ready to go and Janine is talking to somebody else, raise your hand. You'll get put next in the queue so that you can ask your question or make your comment and then take off. And so with our team, I have somebody who is staying off camera, who is Lynette Newman. If you have been with me on Alignable, LinkedIn, or Facebook, or Twitter, you have been chatting it up with Lynette. Lynette is my person. And I know everybody's giving me the X sign. Thank you, Rich. Yes, it's now X. Sorry, it used to tweet when I used it. But Lynette is someone who you are chatting with. So if you are on that messaging service, please do not tell her that she's a bot and stop talking to you. She is a live human being at a keyboard responding to your message. So I just kind of want to defend Lynette today. The other person that is very important to me, all my team, is Brian Hyde. So Brian and I go back. We joke about who's been in broadcasting longer, and he's 6 months older than me. So I'm the new kid. We were online, or we were in broadcasting radio in 1982, 87. I forget when I can't remember which year I was in high school. So it was 1982 for me, but Brian is 6 months older than that. So Brian, go ahead and unmute yourself and talk to us a little bit, because you are definitely the master of radio. So literal broadcasting in the day. And yes, he does do podcasts as well. And so he's going to give us a 1-minute podcasting tip for the podcasters in our audience. Go ahead, Brian.
Okay. I bet many of you have thought about doing a podcast before, and I don't want to turn you into snobs, but I'm going to tell you quality in audio is everything. The better the quality, it elevates everything and generates, a better connection and more interest from your listeners. So having said that, you don't have to spend a fortune if you want really good sounding audio. I strongly recommend look at something like the Rodecaster Pro, which for around $600 or $700 will sound as good as any $10,000 studio from even just a few years ago. It's Rodecaster Pro. In fact, I'll put a link in the chat if you want to check out. If you're thinking about it, it's probably the best money you'll ever spend on audio equipment.
Thanks so much. And for those of you who are like me and don't know the first thing about what is the best and highest and level grade, I recommend that you listen to Brian, especially when it comes to quality. The reason I sound so good is because Brian has been with me from the beginning. Okay, back in 2005, I would run down to the radio station where I lived in Cedar City, Utah, and Brian and I would be on the radio station together as I sold my books. And what I would do is I would do Q&A as people would call in and ask questions, and I'd be on the radio with them. And then I'd have to pack up all my kids. I had 4 of them playing in playpens while we were looking at them through the glass of the studio room. And I'd pack up all my kids and I'd run down to the bookstore that was right down the street. And I'd have to hurry and put my books on the counter there so that the lady that was behind the counter could start selling the books. That's how old school we were, and that's how we started. So Brian and I have been from the beginning. If you hear a male voice that is introducing or wrapping up any of my content, whether it's an audiobook or a show, that is Brian Hyde, ladies and gentlemen. He has been the man behind the scenes for years, and it's nice to be able to bring him out and about. And so if you need any help with audiobooks or any audio content, please look him up and you will find him under One Voice LLC. Okay, so thank you so much, Brian. Appreciate you. The other man that is on my team, and he's a book writing fiend, and he is from the Great White North and all that, is Jeff Boshawa. If you'd be kind enough to unmute yourself and definitely talk to us today. Not only is he an amazing author and writes books faster than anyone I've ever met, but the other thing is he's actually going up for the Guinness World Book of Records of number of books written in a year. And he's on task to do that. So Jeff also is big in networking. He actually has software that helps him keep track of the thousands upon thousands of people he has met and chatted with on Zoom. So talk to us about networking, Jeff.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Janine. Hi, everyone. I think I'd say networking in my world, I hear a lot of people saying networking is dead or networking doesn't work. And I think this group here proves that theory wrong. So I'm going to call that fake news. And I'm going to say that networking, I love AI. I found my people. It turns out it's coding. But anyways, that's another conversation. My little lesson this week and my thoughts are, don't use AI if you're trying to build authentic relationships, because people can spot the AI. Spoiler alert, if you don't know what AI can do, it creates great messages and things. But the funny thing is they're too perfect. It takes your personality out. So leave your flaws in, because that's how people like to connect.
And that's one of the things I have started doing. Thank you so much, Jeff. I appreciate that. I use AI extensively to get me started if I need a pathway or something. And then I have to go in and rewrite everything. And one of the things, it's helpful, I've been an author since 2005, and it's one of those things that helps get you rolling, but I totally customize it. And one of the things I've started doing in my newsletter is I make mistakes on purpose. I'll misspell a word, or I'll do something crazy like that. And I have people now coming back going, nice to know you don't use AI, Janine. I actually had that last week. So it's working. It's letting people know we're trying to be as authentic as we can, even though we have this amazing technology that's in the forefront. Okay, so next is we have my mindset people, our wellness people, which, by the way, you do want to connect with Jeff Boshawa if you are in the wellness and health space. He's building out a group and is going to have an event next year in 2024 that you want to be a part of. And so definitely connect with him in the chat and he will be glad to talk to you. But we have 2 of our mindset people with us, one in the Great White North and one on the island of Maui. And so we're going to start off with Crystal because, you know, you're out in Maui. So if you would unmute yourself and give us a 1-minute tip today, my dear.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So my tip for today is just reflecting on, because it's like family time, a lot of traditions, the holidays are coming up. So there's a lot of things that come up. And so my reflection for today is just noticing how many different cultures there are across the world. There's like 7 billion people on this planet. There's not one right way to live in this world. And when you can understand that and embrace that, it really opens up all of the doors to like create a new world, create the world you want to live in. If you notice there's something in your life that you don't really like, that you don't really want to have it, then reset it.
And with that, in case you don't know my team very well, let me tell you something that they know how to hand off to one another. So who is the Reset It guy? The Reset It guy is Mark Mathis, who comes to us from the beautiful Great White North, one of our Canadians, keeping NAFTA thriving and strong for us. Good morning, Mark. What is your
Good
tip for the
morning.
day today?
What a beautiful introduction there into putting it in there. It's just beautiful. My tip of the day is, we do all these Zoom calls that we're online and everything, and we're trying to build up some business. But just reflect on what is the image that you want to send out there. If you're not present in the action you're doing online, why should we buy from you? Simple as that.
And thank you so much. I appreciate it, Mark. For those of you who don't know, Mark has a program where in 2 sessions of 90 minutes, he will have you reset. So if you're struggling, if you have something in your business that is not working out and you literally feel like you have beat your metaphysical head against the wall, you want to contact Mark. And if you're one of those who are in the wellness space, you want to get a certification from him. Crystal's one of his students. So that's one of the things that, and you would think, well, why does Crystal need it? She's a freaking therapist. She has all these certifications. It's because she's always learning. Don't you want to go to somebody who's constantly learning and adding to their certifications? I do. It shows me that's a thriving mind. So definitely want to reach out to our wellness space people. And thank you so much, Mark, for introducing our next wonderful person and new author, Rich Beyer. Rich has this book, Beyer's Book of Business Branding. And thank you very much, Mark, for queuing us up to talk to Rich. And he has a 1-minute branding tip for us today. Help us out there, Rich.
Good morning, everybody. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm just so excited to be. This is such a great way to move away from the work week. So thank you, Janine. I'm just sitting here noticing how much play is available here and just enjoying that. So I want to talk today about taglines and the importance of a tagline, because many of us have a business. For example, my business is called Rich Beyer Design. Well, what the hell does that mean? Is it interior design? Is it landscape design? Is it what does that mean? So my tagline is transforming businesses into trusted brands. So this way you have a sense of, okay, he's not going to rearrange my furniture or make me throw out my shit. They're whoozy watsits.
They're whoozy watsits. Thank you. I knew it was something important that we were missing.
That's the official word. Remember
right.
that.
Yes, sir.
So be funky with your name if you want the name of your business, but have something that really just ties it all together so people totally get who you are. That's my tip for today. And I don't know who's next, so I don't know what to say to hand off to.
That's quite all right. It was kind of by accident. Everybody just knew who was around, so no problem. Definitely be glad to help you out. Because Crystal has her hand raised. Go, Crystal.
I just have to say, Rich, you are amazing. He is helping me with branding and a logo, and I have never, ever, ever had so much fun, got so much accomplished, and been so excited to share like what we're working on. I cannot wait. It is freaking amazing. This man is awesome.
Wonderful. Thank you. I agree. And that's why he helps me with mine. So, all right. So that wraps up kind of the team with who is working and helping us with what we're doing here today. And it's very important for me to share something. My father was in the Navy, so I grew up thinking that everybody moved every 2 years. I thought everybody moved every 2 years and went to different countries and got to watch big ships come into harbors and hear the not the Pledge of Allegiance, the saying the national anthem. I thought everybody heard taps. I just thought that was the way everybody's life ran. And one of the things that is very important in the Navy is today. Today is the Marine Corps birthday. And for those of you who may not know, the Marine Corps is actually the oldest branch of the United States military Corps. And so I just want to honor, I know November 11th is Veterans Day, but November 10th is near and dear to my heart because the MPs, the Marines, were the ones I was always hiding from when I was doing something I wasn't supposed to be doing as a kid. So I didn't recognize police officers as police officers. I always looked for MPs. I was always looking for the Marines to hide from as a kid. So just want to say thank you for the cat and mouse games you played with me for years and years. I very much honor you and grateful for your service. So with that being said now, I will open it up for everyone else. First of all, Lori, thank you so much for being with us today. Lori Felt is an amazing designer in a very different way from Rich Beyer. Lori enjoys creating three-dimensional objects for people. And when my daughter wanted a pair of mermaid flip-flops, which she wears to this day, these flip-flops have been around for 5 years. Lori was the one who designed them and got us quality flip-flops. So Lori, if you'd unmute yourself and say good morning and how can we help you?
Hi, my name is Lori Felt and I'm a humanitarian artist. I have coupled my art with causes. Currently, Deborah, who I would bring to the chat today, who's a very good friend, celebrity publicist. I've done collaborations for magazines. Deborah is very connected to magazines. Been very honored to bring her here. And so she's going to be the speaker at our newest collaboration, which is going to be Tea and Pearls. The reason I believe I'm here is because I've been intuitively guided. I have met writers or people that should tell their story, and I've never had a platform to send them to. So I brought Deborah. I just
No, thank you very much. I love it when people bring their friends and stuff, and I always appreciate people's passion. And I am grateful that you always share your passion, and especially grateful at how much you help the world with what you do. So thank you so much for being here today. And then Deborah, you were called on, so definitely unmute yourself. And how may I help you?
I'm not sure. I'm very interested in meeting everybody and connecting. I've been talking about doing my podcast for several years. I am the author of 30,000 magazine articles in 35 countries. I interview business people and authors and entrepreneurs and a lot of nonprofits. And I would love to connect with some of you because I'm all ready to go. I have the interviews. I have 50 people that I want to talk about, some of the authors, some of the people in the nonprofits. But I haven't taken the plunge because I was waiting for somebody to tell me what equipment to buy. and he just did. And I definitely get stuck. So Crystal and I can talk about that. But I'm just fascinated by all of you and all of your work. And could I give a PR tip that might help everybody?
We always love tips from professionals. Please go.
Okay, so I've been a writer for 25 years and a publicist for about 15. And the one thing that people kind of forget about if they're doing their own PR or even if they have a company, I bet each one of you has a friend, a neighbor, a brother-in-law, somebody from your childhood who is connected to a podcaster, a radio announcer, a TV person, a print person. One of my clients said to me, I know the editor of such and such magazine, and I am going to make the introduction for you. And 4 minutes later, my client was being featured in a major magazine. So use the people that you know. And because sending out 400 blind emails, as you probably all know, you might get nothing. But getting on the phone or sending a few emails and saying, so and so sent me and I want to network with you and how can I help you? But in the meantime, my client would like to be on your podcast or your radio show. Or it works, and it works really quickly.
Thank you
So
very much,
use
Deborah.
who you have.
Yep, brilliant advice. Well done. And for those of you who are authors or business owners and you want to know how to do promotional podcasting, I've written a book called Author Podcasting, Be a Standout Guest, and Take Your Book on Virtual Tour. And so in the chat, Sean has the link to where you can get the book for free, and I ask you to pay $10 shipping. Also, there is different content in there. I had an editor that went through my book funnel and said, first you say the book is free and I'm supposed to pay $9.95 in shipping, and then you say the book is $9.95 and it's free shipping. And I'm like, that's what happens when you have 3 writers all writing content, desperately trying to get a book funnel up and rolling. So yes, you're going to find mistakes, but guess what? The price is $9.95. See it as a free book, you're paying shipping, or see it as you're paying for the book and it's for, how reverse that. So anyway, that's author podcasting. And then, and so if you find that that would be helpful, and definitely Deborah and Brian in the chat, feel free to exchange contact information, because I think the two of you could serve one another very well. All right. Thank you, Shailene and Karen. You're next. So Shailene, then Karen. Thank you so much for waiting so patiently. So Shailene, good morning. And how are you? It's been a hot minute since we've chatted.
Too long.
Too long. How are you?
Jeff and Karen know I'm just recovering from COVID. I don't usually look this bad or sound this awful, so I'm probably not going to talk a lot.
Okay.
But I definitely wanted to be here because Karen's a friend of mine. Well, obviously Jeff too. And I really wanted Karen to come because she's an author, and I knew she would benefit from this meeting. Maybe not today, but another time when you ask me how you can help, we can talk about summits, because I'm looking at doing a summit. Karen's probably going to be involved in that.
Okay.
And of course, I want to talk to you and Jeff about it.
Okay, that's fine. And we'll wait until you've recovered a little bit more. Thanks for coming on. And for those of you who may not know, Shailene is an amazing financial person. I can't remember her exact credentials right now, and I don't want to say it wrong, but she and I connected. Go ahead, Shailene.
I'm a princess or a queen. You can either one.
whatever royal term I care to use, feel free. We connected because of my book, Ditch Your Debt While Banking Bucks. And so this is where I talk about the 60-40 principle and how to live a debt-free lifestyle, how to be a conserver rather than a consumer, that sort of thing. This is the quick book on what is the 60-40 principle. The reason Shailene and I connected, because of her financial arena, she is on the other side, which is you've spent all your life putting together an estate and financial well-being, and you're looking at end of life and you need to pass this off to the next generation. How do you leave that legacy without losing 40% of it to taxes? So she's up in Canada, but she does work with people in the United States as well. So definitely reach out to Shailene McInnes, especially if you've been the recipient of an estate or what have you. She can help you with how do you maintain that, how do you keep it going, because generational wealth is just as challenging as building the wealth. And so definitely want to reach out to her and see what she might be able to do to help you out. Okay, so Karen, please come online and tell us about your book. You're an author.
Well, yeah, it's been about a 2.5-year process for me. So I'm a thanatologist, and I don't know if any of you guys know what that is.
Nope. Educate me, please.
It's a grief counseling.
Mm.
So it's the word thanatology. So we've been I've been working on a book. It's about divorce, which is grief, and it's been a 2.5-year process. I've been doing a lot of research, and we're getting to the end of it, and I don't know where to go. Like, you put your whole heart into it, and now I'm like, it's a whole new area, right? Marketing a book, publishing or self-marketing. So yeah, and I'm in part of Shailene's master group, so we kind of all talk all the time, and so that's why I'm here. So all your information's already been helpful already, but podcasting too, I'd like to try that too. So I've got a lot to learn. So that's why I'm here as well.
So I'm going to ask Sean to put in the chat my one-to-one. I have a calendar that you can sign up to have 30 minutes with me for $197. I'm sorry to my Canadians, you have to pay more than that. If I could find a way to do something different, I would. But just wanted to let you know, in that 30 minutes, we will come up with a strategy for you to market your book. And the thing is, don't try doing anything until you have a plan. Have a 1-year plan in place before you start to market your book. And I wish somebody had taught me that. I'm the author of 17 books, 18 soon with Jeff. But every time I have launched a new book, the marketing was radically different. And it took me until book 7 before I learned that I needed to spend time while I was writing the book that I was thinking about how I was going to market it. And so do you have an email list, Karen?
Yeah, we're growing that.
Okay. So do you have more than 25, 69? How many people do you have on your subscribers?
Right now, just 50.
50? Hey, bravo. You got 50 people that want to read your stuff. That's brilliant. Yeah, I know Crystal's in there. Yeah, baby. Crystal's an author as well. And so that's one of those things that you want to build up your email list. But the way you go, we can talk about the way you go about doing that and how you can do it without having to shell out a lot of free stuff. And then you get a lot of people who want free stuff, but you don't get the people who really want to engage with you and purchase your stuff. And so we want to get to that level. So we'll come up with a plan for you. So anyway, I look forward to chatting with you. And then anytime you get stuck, always come back to Open Friday Coffee. You're always welcome. This is the one place where it's totally free to come on. It's one place that Janine doesn't charge you an arm and a leg. Go ahead, Mark. Good morning.
Good morning. Karen, take the time to meet with Janine. It's an amazing time that she's got a vision that's going to help you out and do what you need to be done. She directed me in a direction that I knew that I wanted to go into that direction, but it just made it clearer for me to move in that direction. And since that time, it's just been amazing, amazing, amazing. So take the time. It's worth paying the amount, even if it's more expensive in Canada. It's okay.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. I just feel for people that are in other countries that have currency issues like we do. So anyhow, thank you very much. I appreciate the testimonial. So that's everybody has been given an opportunity to speak today. So does anyone have a question that we can help you out with? Because I'd like to talk to you or share with you that you are the brain trust here, right? This is my brain trust. My community is my brain trust. And anybody who shows up has something that they can offer someone who is being challenged. So does anyone have a specific challenge in their business that they would like assistance with? We make the assumption you want clients. We make the assumption you want referrals. But is there something specific that we might be able to assist you with today?
Big ask, and this is something I'm not sure who to ask, so of course I bring it to Janine and her brain trust. I've officially hit the wall of Jeff's got so many hours in a day and so many people to interview for the podcast, so I'm actually looking to bring in some co-hosts, and I was just wondering if anybody knows a good resource to find great co-hosts that can play at a high level and basically be the face of certain areas of my podcast, which I can't call wellness anymore because Mark's helping me reinvent it. But I want to find great people. So is there like a agency or something where I can find extroverts to go extroverting for me so that I can stay home and be quiet with my books?
The answer is yes. You have 2 of them, and that is myself and Brian Hyde. We are for hire. So we are voiceover talent. So it just depends on the price tag. If we are too expensive for your budget, Brian, do you have an agency that maybe somebody needs someone that's a little bit more hungry and go ahead.
I do have a thought on this, Jeff, and I hope it's helpful and doesn't muddy the waters for you. But you're going to want somebody who shares your enthusiasm for the topic. I can do a lot of voice work, and I'll sound enthusiastic, pay me enough and I'll sing the praises. But if you really want to connect with your audience, you're going to want to have some people who actually know the subject, are passionate about it. And this is where you'll be surprised who will step forward and who you'll network with that could help with that. Again, if you're looking for someone who can play at that higher level, they're going to have to at least be familiar, if not also very passionate about what you're doing.
Awesome. May I ask a follow-up question?
Yes, you may.
Does anyone know how to contain extroverts? Because I did put a post and I listed out, here's how you apply, and they all jump on me and want to be in my calendar, and they all want to take some time and have a conversation. So Mark, you need to help me with the wording to keep them in line. So does anybody have any tips on extroverting?
Stop using the extroverting. Start putting that out there.
Prozac?
Stop using the word.
Stop using the word extroverting.
Yeah.
So have you ever seen a circus?
Yes.
And who are the most wild and crazy of the crew?
Clowns.
The clowns. The clowns are the wild and crazy ones. They are known as the uncontrolled force. I mean, they're in many mythos and they're in many cultures. The clown is the uncontrollable. So a lot of the fun thing about extroverts is some of them are clowns in disguise. And so trying to control them, the tighter the reins, the more the mud slips through your fingers. And so to give them full rein for a bit and say, well, the response has been so delightful and fantastic. We would just love to be able to meet with all of you, but I'm holding auditions on X day, and you can show up on my Zoom room at X time, and we will discuss who will be in the top 3 for the running.
Ooh, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. So for other ways on how you can go about taking care of time management skills, my book, The Thriving Solopreneur, How to Nurture Your Business in 4 Hours or Less, is all about taking 4 hours a week where you're working not in the business, but on your business as far as the marketing and promotional aspect of it. We've talked a lot about networking, and it's very easy as entrepreneurs and authorpreneurs to have 50 million hats that we're wearing, and we feel like we're spinning around in circles and we don't feel like we're getting enough traction. When you feel like you don't have enough traction in your business, most entrepreneurs and authorpreneurs go back to writing, or they go back and they hide. The introverted side of their personality will take over, and they'll become a turtle in a shell. That's good to renew or rejuvenate or refurbish yourself. However, you do want to make sure you're still doing that 4 hours a week that I talk about in my book. And those 4 hours, you can go to my personal website, JanineBolon.com, and there I have free videos for you on those 4 hours. So you can go look those up, take a look at those videos. My videos are short, I believe, in 10 minutes or less. So you don't have to worry about watching hours and hours of video material there. Okay. So any other questions for us today, since we have the brain trust in front of us?
But does anyone want to, and Jeff and I talk about this quite often, about finding the right client and not wasting our time with, that sounded mean. I don't care.
I know it sounds mean, but it's true, right?
Because the wrong client can ruin your business, and I have employees, and so anyone have advice on making sure you're finding the right client?
So I'm going to start, and I'll open it up to anybody else. You can raise your hand digitally, and we'll be glad to take care of you. How do you find the right client? Well, one that will pay up front. I really like clients who pay up front, which is why when Karen asked me some advice, I'm like, hey, this is, my thing, 30 minutes, it's $197. To me, those are the right clients. They will self-select. Okay. They will decide whether or not that's worth their time. And you have a freebie. Like, this is what Open Friday Coffee started off as my students' office hour, or office hours from. But people can come on here and find out. And this is how I keep my calendar from being totally overwhelmed by so mmany people wanting to have a one-to-one with me. Well, if you want a one-to-one, you have to pay for that. And for some businesses, they're not allowed to charge, or if some certain type of licensors. So for people like that, I'm like, do an open Zoom like this and have people talk to you on the open Zoom. And people who really want to work with you will put up with that and then pay you when it's appropriate for that industry. I know there are rules, there's regulations, a lot of financial planners, anything that has to do with securities, that kind of thing, you have a lot of compliance you have to worry with. However, that's why I always recommend bring as many people into the room as possible and talk to them, because then they can not only see how you work, they can see what you're doing, but at the same time, the people that aren't that interested will fall off the call, they won't stay involved, and that way you don't waste their time or yours, which is why with Open Friday Coffee, show up when you can, leave when you have to. You're not going to hurt my feelings because we all have very busy lives. And I know I'm not the type of crazy that you may need in your life right now. So, more power to you on that. Does that help?
It
Janine?
does. And also what you just said about, then, for example, I get to know you, which I've known you, so that's okay. But also then you get to know me. And am I the person that you want? So I like the way it's kind of like that, both sides of it. It does help.
Like they say when you're going up for a job interview, the interview is both sides. Do I want to work for you? And do you want to hire me as an employee or what have you? So real quick, we're going to step up to having our 1 minute tech tip from Matt Roseman, who managed to join us. Like I said, we're all very busy. And so when people pop on, I make sure we highlight them. Now, Matt is the one who, as an author, and Karen, you'll probably, and Deborah, you both probably know this very well, there is no convenient time when your computer decides it's going to misbehave. There's never a convenient time. And inevitably, it's in the middle of a book launch or right as you're getting ready to publish and hit the return key to send it off somewhere, and things start going south. Matt has saved me on multiple occasions from that, and he always whines about my ancient computer that we are now upgrading. And we spent 4 hours with each other this past week as he helped move all my files carefully. And he's like, where is all this memory of your computer? I don't see it anywhere. I don't see it anywhere. And then he finally gets into the guts of my computer and he goes, holy crap, you have a lot of stuff on this computer. I'm like, yeah, I do video. So anyway, welcome and good morning, Matt Roseman.
Hi there, Janine. Thank you. I'm laughing only because I'm crying on the inside. So, yeah, her hard drive was like a rat's nest of files. So it was an absolute field day on it. So also good to see Crystal on here. Good to see everybody else on here. Yes, it was awesome getting Janine back into 21st century, and the Apple she'll be working on is going to be a much more compelling computer, and I can't wait to finish it up next week for her. And she'll look better, and she'll sound better, and she'll work better. So it will help everybody, down the line for years. All right, look, I can only do so much here. I'm only working with so much here. So anyway.
Okay, so our 1 minute
yes.
tech tip. 1 minute tech tip.
Yeah, so I'm going to throw it out there for those of you who use Google and have Gmail accounts, but you don't love your Gmail account and you haven't been in there for a while. Well, guess what? Google's cracking down that if you have inactive Gmail accounts, they're going to start getting deleted as of December 1st. So if you have a Gmail account, you haven't been in there in a while, I highly encourage you to go back in there to make sure they don't delete the account. Apple came out with new updates this week. Also, to nerd out, which I personally love, there's a new Ghostbusters movie coming out in the spring. And I can't wait for that. And they're going back to New York. They're going to take the cast from the Afterlife, and they're going to add Patton Oswalt, among other people. They're even bringing back people from the original 1984 movie, including Andy Potts, so much for young Sheldon. And they're also going to sit there and do William Peck, that guy who played that asshole inspector guy. So he's coming back too. So I'm looking forward to that. And they're coming back to New York City. And Ernie Hudson's going to be there, Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, so probably the ghost of Harold Ramis, God bless his soul. So again, I'm nerding out on that. Also, for those of you who use WhatsApp, guess what's coming to WhatsApp? Ads. So just watch for that, because at some point there may be a subscription model as well. So typically I have the Hebrew haha of the week. Well, I'm going to switch to something completely new this week. I'm going to tell you a tech tale, and I'm going to give you a musical twist. I alluded last week to the Beatles coming out with the new song Now and Then. Has anybody heard it or seen it? Okay, so there's a backstory behind that song, and I saw the documentary yesterday. John Lennon had recorded that song back in the 70s. However, the demo of that song was so poor that when they tried to work on it, when Yoko gave it to the last surviving Beatles in 1995, they couldn't isolate his voice because the piano was over his voice. And they worked with George Harrison, Ringo, and Paul. All tried to work on that song to complete it, and George Harrison even recorded a guitar solo for that song. But because of the limitations of technology in 1995, they were unable to complete the song based on the very poor recording and the other instruments that were going on besides the piano and besides his voice. Fast forward to 2022, Paul and Ringo wanted to try again. They went back to EMI or Apple Records, and then they, got with their old producer, and they were able to sit there and use computers and use technology and use even AI, back in 2022 to isolate John's voice from all the other instruments on that one recording back in the 70s. So what happened was this: they took John's voice, they took the guitar solo from George Harrison. Then Ringo added the percussion, obviously, and then Paul added the bass, the background vocals, and then also they added an orchestral arrangement as well. And that's how the last Beatles song came to be. So if it wasn't for technology, then that song that came out last week never would have came to fruition.
And see, this is what I love about Matt. Did you want that musical history? I know you did. I know you wanted to learn all about that before you slide into AI. AI gets a bad rap, and here it's being used for something awesome. So we all get to buy the album again. Okay.
Yeah, it was great talking to everybody. Thanks again. I'll put my information in chat if you want me to get your technology back up to a jackrabbit on 5 Hour Energy in Mountain Dew. Just let me know. I'll be more than happy to help you out. Thank you for letting me speak. I really appreciate it.
Yep. Take care of yourself, Matt. Always nice to have you with us, no matter how long. Gobble, gobble. All right. So anybody else care to use the brain trust at work? Do you have a question for Matt before he takes off? Or I treasure Open Friday coffee. My son can attest to the facts. I bounce up in the morning. I am ready to rock and roll. I can't wait to get here and meet all of you. I can't wait to share what I've learned. I can't wait to hear what all of you have learned. You are welcome back at any time. Karen, I'd love to have you back to share a 1-minute author tip. Deborah, I'd love to have you back and have you share a 1-minute publishing tip or networking tip, whatever is of interest to you. Jeff Warszawa is going to reach out and share with us one more tip on networking before we close out. Go ahead, Jeff.
Ooh, love it. All right. Networking tip. Last week was, I think, the simple, fun one. I like you. Let's be friends.
Yes.
I don't know how to simplify it. I can't tell you the power of that phrase. I mean, podcasting is my favorite networking tool. I don't know if anybody else sees it as a networking tool, but it's a magic tool. So you're giving people your attention, your focus, and it's a great way to get to know them. And Mark and I are going to work on some language around the podcast, but my number one networking tip is be curious. If you ask about the other person, I'm not kidding. I spent 45 minutes with this lady who's done things. She's met popes, presidents, all kinds of people. And she said I was the most fascinating person on the planet because I asked her 5 questions and then I let her talk for an hour. So if you want to be fascinating, be fascinated. There, that's a tip.
That's a tip. We're going to go with that. Well done. Thank you, Jeff. And as we wrap up Open Friday Coffee, I do want to say thank you so much for being here. But the biggest thing is thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for having that fire in your belly. Thank you for having that passion, whether it's humanitarian aid, whether it's the latest philanthropic circle that you're a part of, or it's just you're helping the Boy Scouts out with an Eagle project. Whatever it is that you're doing, your life really matters. And I say that because you are bright lights for people. Realize what is your ordinary life is absolutely extraordinary to people who have never been entrepreneurs. They just can't even begin to understand. I had somebody call me brave and courageous for just what I do on a daily basis as an entrepreneur. And so I just wanted to remind you, you're brave, you're courageous. And even with your knee shaking and sweat breaking out on the top of your lip because you have no idea what you're going to do next, I salute you and I thank you for running with your passion. And we will see you next week. Take care, everybody. Bon voyage. Have a fabulous weekend. Bye now.